Right, so in this video I'm going to have a look at the equation of a line, what it means and how to work out what the equation of a line actually is. So I'm going to start by just looking at what exactly an equation of a line means. What does it? What exactly is it? So let's take let's say we take just some line, and this particular line, or any particular line, is made up of an infinite number of points on that line. And what the equation of a line does is it tells you the relationship between the x and y values for each point on that line. So for example, if we take let's say we take a point here, and we'll take that is the point 1, 4. So you go out along the x-axis 1 unit, and you go up along the y-axis 4 units. Now if we take another point here, let's say we'll say 0, 5. We'll take another point down here somewhere, and we'll say that it's -1, 6. If you look at these 3 points, what you'll find is if you add the x and y values for these 3 points, you'll find that they all add up to 5. So 1 plus 4 will give you 5, 0 plus 5 will give you 5, -1 plus 6 will give you 5. Now we can say that the equation of this line is x plus y is equal to 5. In other words, for any point on this line, if we add the x value to the y value, we'll get 5. So if we take another point down here, let's say -2, it would have to be 7. -2 plus 7 will give you 5. Now if we take another point, let's say we take the point 3, 8, for example, and we want to know, is that point on this particular line here? Well, you just put 3 in here. 3 is our x, 8 is the y, so put in 8 here, and that's supposed to be equal to 5. 8 plus 3 is 11, equal to 5. 8 is clearly not equal to 5, so therefore this particular point is not on the line. So to determine if a point is on the particular line that you're talking about, just simply stick in the x value into the x and the y value into where y is, and see, do you get whatever's on the right hand side of your equation. So that's basically what an equation of a line means. It tells you what it gives you an idea of what the relationship between the x and y values value is. So the equations of lines can be written in a number of different ways. The two main ways that they're written would be y is equal to mx plus c, and generally we would write equations as ax plus by plus c equal to 0. So usually you'd see equations of lines written in either of these two ways here. They're basically both the same kind of equations, but written in a different way, if you like. So this is just your y is equal to m being the slope, x is just your any x value, and c is a number. Or you can write it like this: a number times x plus a number times y plus a number equals 0. So let's see how that works in practice. Generally, if you're given let's say a point and the slope, a point on the line and the slope of the line, you can use this particular equation here: y minus y1 is equal to m into x minus x1. If you use this formula here for working out the equation of a line, you need the slope and you need a point on the line. So if you have the slope of a line and you have a point on the line, you can stick those values into this particular equation here, and it will give you the equation of the line. And you can write that equation in this way here or this way here. Let's try it and see what happens. Let's take a point, let's say 1, 3, and we'll say a slope of let's take a slope of 2. So we have a line, and maybe it looks like this, and we know that there's a point on that line, and the point is 1, 3, and we know that the slope of that line is 2. So the slope of this particular line here is 2. Now the question will be, what is the equation of that line? What's the relationship between our x and y values on that line? How can we write that down in terms of x and y? So what we're going to do is we're going to use this formula here. Because we have a point and because we have the slope, we can use this formula here to determine the equation of this line. So let's do that. First thing you do, just write down this equation: y minus y1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x1. Now, the y1 and the x1 is this point here, the coordinates of this point. So this is our x1, this is our y1, and our m is our slope here. So let's do that. Y minus, our y1 is 3, m is 2, and our x1 is 1. So this is the equation of our line here with a point 1, 3 and a slope of m. But usually you'd be expected to just simplify that and put it in one of these two formats here, usually. You don't have to, but usually, normally they are put in one of these two formats. So I'm going to put it into this format here. So let's do that then. So we've got y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x, 2x, 2 times minus 1, minus 2. We want ax plus by plus c equals 0. So I want 0 on one side. So I have an ax here. I'm going to bring the y over here, and I'm going to bring the minus 3 over here. I'm going to leave the 0 on this side. So I'll end up with 2x. When I bring the y over, it's minus y. I have a minus 2 here. And when I bring this minus 3 over, it becomes plus 3. So what I end up with is 0 is equal to 2x minus y minus 2 plus 3 is plus 1. So now I have my equation of the line, and it is in this format here. It's ax, or 2x, plus by minus 1y, plus c plus 1 equal to 0. So this is the equation of my line here. Now if I take that equation and I rearrange these letters and numbers to make it look like this here, what would happen? So this is one format. This is the format that I've got at the moment. So I'm going to change it to this format here. It'll still be the same equation, it'll still be the same line, it'll just look a little bit different. So let's do that. I'll bring it up here and do it. So I have, let's see, what have I got? I've got 2x minus y plus 1 equal to 0. That's the equation of my line currently. And I'm going to change these values around to look like this here. Y is equal to mx plus c. So let's do that. I want the y on its own this time, so I'll leave the y here. It's minus y at the moment. I'm going to take this 2x and I'm going to bring it over here. So that's going to become minus 2x. I'm going to take this plus 1 and I'm also going to bring it over here. So that's going to become minus 1. Now I'm almost there. I've got a minus y and a minus 2x minus 1 on this side. I don't want minus y here. I want a plus y. I want it to be plus y. So what I'm going to do is multiply each of these terms by minus 1. Or I'm going to change all the signs for each of the terms. So multiply this by minus 1. Minus times minus is plus. So I end up with y, which is exactly what I want. Minus times minus is plus. So I end up with plus y. Minus times minus here is plus 2x. Minus times minus here is plus, and 1 times 1 is 1. So I've changed all the signs here. Now I started with this particular equation here. That was the equation of my line, and I've ended up with this equation here. They're both exactly the same equations. They're both exactly the same lines. They just look a little bit different. One is in this format, one is in this format here. So why would I use this format here? Why would I take the equation of a line and change it into this format here? Well, the reason for that is, well, the two reasons really. One is that I can read the slope off here very easily. Y is equal to mx plus c, m being our slope. So I can just rearrange this equation here to look like this, and then all I have to do is read off the slope. If I was asked to find out the slope of this equation here, this line here, this here is our slope, 2. And remember, that's what we started with. We did start with a slope of 2, so it does work. So 2 is the slope. What about this number here, this plus 1? What does that mean? Our c here, plus c here. What does that mean? Well, really what that means is where the line cuts the y-axis. where it crosses the y-axis. So for example, if I draw the line, let's say we draw the line, it'll look something like this here. I'll have also, of course, my x or my y-axis and my x-axis here. I know that this line here, this is my x-axis, this is the y-axis here. I know that this line has a slope of 2. I've read it off here. We started with 2 anyway. This plus 1 here, what does that mean? Well, this is the c. Y is equal to mx plus c. C is where the line cuts the y-axis. So now I can read off, I know that this point here is going to be 1. It's going to have coordinates 0 on the x-axis and 1 on the y-axis. So if I have an equation of a line and rearrange it to look like this, I can read off the slope and I can also tell where it cuts the y-axis. So for example, if I just start with any equation of a line, let's say 2x plus 3y minus 8 equal to 0. Say that's all I'm given, and I'm asked what's the slope of this line and where does it cut the y-axis. So that's the only bit of information I'm given, is the equation of the line. Well, what I can do is rearrange this to look like this. If I do that, I can read off the slope and I can read off where it cuts the y-axis. So let's do that. So I'm going to take the 2x, I don't want that on this side, and I'm going to bring that over here, and I'm going to take the minus 8 and bring it over to this side as well. I'm going to leave the 3y on this side. So I'm going to take 3y equal to minus 2x plus 8. So remember, I just brought the 2x over here to become minus 2x. I took the minus 8, brought it over here to become plus 8. Okay, now I don't have y yet, I've got a 3y. I want to get rid of this 3, so I've got to divide everything by 3. So divide this by 3, it'll get rid of the 3. Divide this by 3, I get minus 2 divided by 3x. And take the 8 and divide that by 3 as well. You must divide all terms by 3. So now I've got y is equal to mx plus c. So in this case, this particular equation, what have I got? I've got m being minus 2/3. So now I know the slope of this line, and I know that c is 8 over 3, or just 2 and 2/3. So in other words, I know now what the slope of this line is, and I also know where it cuts the y-axis. So I know that it's, first of all, it has a negative slope, so it's going to look like this, and I know it cuts the y-axis at 2 and 2/3. So if I take the y-axis here and let's say the x-axis here, I know that this point here is going to be 0 and 2 and 2/3. And that's the basic idea of the equation of a line. So in the next video I'll have a look at maybe parallel lines and perpendicular lines and how to find the equations of those.